Alright guys, in today's video we are going to be going over how to play Hang by Matchbox 20. So let's dive into that right now. Now this is such a great song from a time when you would buy a whole album and discover new songs on it that you'd never hear on the radio, because this song was never a single that was released on the radio. But it's still a song that a lot of Matchbox 20 fans really love. So let's dive in to how to play it. Now, before we get going, I did make a tab of this song, and I'm gonna be using that here in the video. That's what you'll see pop up on the screen. So if you want to get that tab for free, go to simpleguitar.com/hang. You can download it right there, no problem. And then you can use that with you as we go through the video. When it comes to the chords for this song, I see a lot of people using these type of chords, where you've got your G chord with your third and fourth finger on the third fret on your first and second string, right? And then your C chord is the same thing. And then your D chord is either just a regular D chord or it's a sus4. And then you've got your E minor 7. But that's not it. That's not how the chords in this song work. In fact, these chords are a lot simpler than that, because Rob Thomas, while he's a great singer, he's an excellent songwriter, he's not a guitar player's guitar player. And so the more that I listen, the more that it sounds like these chords are being played with only 2 fingers for the whole thing. And that's actually really good news, because that makes it easy for us to play. The only one that I think might have 3 fingers once in a while is the D chord. The 4 chords being used in this song are G, C, D, and E minor, at least variations on those. Because for the G chord, what you're going to do is make a regular G chord with your second finger on the third fret of your 6th string, first finger on the second fret of your 5th string, and then you're going to play your 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings open, but you're going to use your palm to mute your 1st string. So that's all you're gonna get is those 5 strings. Then for C, you're doing the exact same thing. You're taking your 1st and 2nd finger and just moving them over a string right here. So now my 2nd finger's on the 5th string, 3rd fret, and my 1st finger's on the 2nd fret of my 4th string. And then I'm playing the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st strings open, which makes this a C major 7 chord technically. Then we have our E minor, which is just a standard E minor. In this case, if you want to go ahead and just do it with your 1st and 2nd finger, since we're doing that for G and C, that's cool. But you can use your 2nd and 3rd finger. Or if you got fat fingers like me, you can use your 1st finger and just play it with 1 finger, okay? And then your D, instead of being a standard D chord, which I think happens sometimes in the song, I haven't like sat down and gone through every single instance, but I think that happens sometimes. You can use just your 1st and 2nd finger to play your open 5th string, your open 4th string, your 1st finger on the 2nd fret of your 3rd string, and your 2nd finger playing the 3rd fret of your 2nd string. So it's like a D chord without the 1st string still. But we do want that A in the bass on that. So those are the 4 chords that you need to know to be able to play the whole song. Now, here's the cool thing about the strum pattern for this song. A lot of people, when it comes to learning strum patterns, because we spend a lot of time when we're starting out, we're playing strum patterns, we're doing chord progressions with them, right? And we get this idea that whenever we play a song, we're going to use the exact same strum pattern for the entire song. And this song is a great example of completely throwing that idea out the window, because while there is a strum pattern I'm going to teach you that will get you through pretty much the whole song, as you notice when we get to the chorus, your strum pattern changes. If you listen close to the record, there's a different strum pattern than what we're going to do today during the guitar solo. There's different things like that. It changes, right? And it'll even change from section to section in what you're doing. So you're not going to just learn one strum pattern and play it through this whole song. As we go through different sections, you're going to get some different strum patterns as well. But the strum pattern that's going to get you through most of the song, let's do it with a G chord really quick. This is actually a 2-measure strum pattern, and we're playing eighth notes, and we're in 4/4. So we have 4 beats in each measure, and we're dividing up into eighth notes for each thing pretty much. So what we're gonna do is on the first measure, we're gonna strum on beat number 1, then we're gonna strum on beat number 3, and then we're going to hold that out, and we're gonna play an upstroke on the and of 4, and tie that to beat 1 of the next measure, play another upstroke on the and of 1, and then we're gonna play a downstroke on beat number 2, a downstroke on beat number 3, and on beat number 4, we're gonna play down up, which is 4 and. So we're gonna go 1, 3, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 3, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 3, and 2, 3, 4, and. Now here's the trick to make this sound really good. You're accenting beat number 1 and beat number 3 primarily. So for other strums, you don't have to actually strum all the strings of the chord. The fewer strings that you strum, the more you're gonna make beat 1 and beat 3 stand out more. So with my G chord, that's gonna sound like this. So you can think of that as 1, 3, and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 3, and 2, 3, 4, and. Or you can go down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, down, down. Or you could sing it and just go da, 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 digga, da, 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 digga, da. Whichever way is easier for you, do that. Now, if you need to rewind that and slow that down using the controls here on YouTube, do that so that you can practice that strum pattern and get it down, because that is the basis for what we're going to be using today, and it's going to make your life a whole lot easier. Now, to make it spicy, what they do is they actually add in some hammer-ons in between the strums. So we're strumming on beat 1, but what we're going to do, for example, with this G chord and with the C chord, is we're going to strum on beat 1 with our first finger free. We're not going to have our first finger down. So that means my 5th string here is open, and I'm going to hammer down on the and of 1. So it'll go 1 and 2, 3, and 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2, right? So I've got an 8th note that I'm playing just with my first finger on my fretting hand. And then when we change to C, we do the exact same thing. And it sounds really cool when you get that down. Now, as you listen to the song, you'll find there are times when you don't actually do the hammer on. You're just on your G chord or you're on that C major 7, and that's all that you have to do. But there's a lot of times where you are using that hammer on, and it sounds great. So use it as you want. Now let's dive into the sections of the song and get through those, because the song is actually really, really simple. There's the intro, there's the first verse, the second verse, then we go into the chorus. There's a short guitar solo, which is exactly the same as the intro. And then there's a final chorus, which is twice as long as the first chorus. And there's some minor variations in there. The third verse is a little bit different from the first and second verse. And the final chorus has a little bit of variation from the second chorus. But really, that's the whole song. So let's start with the intro. The intro is exactly what we just did. You're playing your G chord, and you're doing that strum pattern, which is 2 measures long, 2 times. So you're gonna play G for 4 measures, and that is gonna sound like this. And then we're going to switch over to our C chord, and we're going to play that same 2-measure strum pattern twice. So we're playing C for 4 measures, and that's the whole intro. So the whole intro, I'm just going to play the whole thing for you here, is going to sound like this. And then we're into the first verse. Now, the first verse starts out exactly the same as the intro. We're playing G for 4 measures, then we're playing C for 4 measures, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to E minor, and we're going to play that for 2 measures. So we're playing through that same strum pattern 1 time. Then we're going to D for 2 measures. Then we're going to go back to G for 2 measures, C for 2 measures, and then we're going to go to G for 2 more measures, and then to D. And then the end of the verse is sitting on our C chord for 4 measures, just like we did in the beginning of the verse. So if you have the tab with you, this will all make sense, but I'm going to play through it with you right now, and I'll put the music on the bottom of the screen for you. But this is the whole first verse all together. And then we're into the second verse, which is exactly the same as the first verse, except in the very end where we just played C for 4 measures in a row, we're only going to play C for 3 measures, and the last measure we're going to switch to D to lead us into the chorus. I'm just going to play the very end of the second verse, so I'll play C for 3 measures and then switch to D for the 4th measure and go into G for the chorus, like this. And that's the beginning of the chorus. Now the chorus is where things really change up here from what we've just been playing in the verse. What we're going to do is we're going to do G for 1 measure, just doing downstrokes, and we're still accenting beat number 1 and beat number 3. So you'll notice in the tab, I put fewer strings getting hit on beat 2 and beat 4, where you're just hitting a couple of the low strings. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, where I'm making a much smaller stroke and just hitting my lowest strings. So we're going to play G for 1 measure, just doing quarter notes, then D for a measure, just doing quarter notes. Then we're going to play C for 2 measures, but this is going to be a different strum pattern. It's kind of based on the same thing. We still have that hammer on that's going to happen, but the rhythm is a little bit different. It's going to go like this. What you're going to do is we're going to strum on beat number 1 and do that hammer on. And then we're going to come in with an upbeat on the and of 2, downbeat on 3, and an upbeat on the and of 3. So that'll go 1 and 3 and. Then we're going to hit on beat 4 again, and this time we're going to do that same hammer on 4. So we'll have that. We're going to hold out our hit on beat 4, and we're going to come back in with an upstroke on the and of 1 of the next measure, downstroke on beat 2, upstroke on the and of 2, and then a downstroke on beat 3. And then for beat 4, what we're going to do is actually lift up on that first finger again and play down up for 4 and. So you're going to get. You can even release that finger on beat 3 of that second measure too. That's cool. And that'll sound like this. Then we go back and we play G for a measure with downstrokes, D for a measure with downstrokes, and then we do C again for 2 measures the same way. And then we're going to go to E minor just with downstrokes until beat 4. On beat 4, we're going to do a 4 and. So we'll have a down up. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 and. Then we switch to D for a measure, and our strum pattern for D is going to be down, up, down, 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 up, which is 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4 and. And then we're going to hit just our C major 7, and it's a whole note. We're just going to hold that out. In fact, we're going to hold that out for a total of 7 beats because it's tied to a dotted half note on the second measure. And then we're going to come in on beat number 4 with this cool little lick using our hammer on. And that lick is going to sound like this. What you're doing is you're playing with your open 4th string, and you're going to play 4 and, which is a down up. And then we're going to hit on beat 1 with our hammer on. Then we're going to strum down on beat 3. And then an upstroke on beat 4, down on 1 of the next measure, and then an upstroke on 1, and then a down on 2. But on that last upstroke and downstroke, I want you to lift that first finger back off. So you're gonna go. And then on beat 4, we're gonna hit just your 5th and 4th strings just open. And that leads us into the guitar solo, which we start with a G chord. So all together, you're gonna get that. And for the guitar solo, what I put in the tab is just copied over the intro. So you can do the exact same strum pattern that we've been doing pretty much the whole time, but some bonus homework for you is actually listen to the song and listen closely because the strumming in the solo is different. And so I want you to go listen to that and try to figure out that strum pattern on your own. That'll do you some good. But for the guitar solo, you're just doing exactly like we did in the intro. You're playing G for 4 measures, then you're playing your C for 4 measures, and then we go into the third verse, which is going to be a little bit different from the first and second verse. It's going to be the exact same thing. We're going to have G for 4 measures, and then C for 4 measures, and then we'll do E minor for 2 measures, D for 2 measures. Then from there, we're going to do G for 2 measures, C for 2 measures, G for 2 measures, D for 2 measures, just like we did before. And then normally with the first 2 verses, that's where we'd go to a C chord and kind of end out that verse for 4 measures, right? But here we're going to jump back and we're going to play G for 2 more measures and C for 2 more measures, and then G for 2 and D for 2. So those last 2 lines of G, C, G, D, we're going to repeat that before we go to doing what we did in the second verse where we play C for 3 measures, and on the 4th measure we play D to lead into the final chorus. So the whole third verse is going to go like this. And then from there, we go into the chorus. Now, the final chorus is the exact same thing. We're doing G, D, C for 2 measures, then G, D, and then C for 2 measures. And then we have E minor, and then D, and then C for 2 measures. But this time, we're not just hitting that C, we're gonna continue with strumming. And I'm just doing the same strumming that I pretty much did earlier in the chorus for that C chord. And then we're gonna add in 2 measures of just hitting D with downstrokes. And then we're gonna repeat the chorus. So we're gonna play G, D, C, and then G, D, C. Then here we're gonna get crazy. We're gonna play E minor for a measure, D for a measure, and repeat that 3 times. So we're gonna go E minor, D, E minor, D, E minor, D. And then the very last chord is we're gonna hit that C major 7 and let that ring out for 7 beats again. And then we come in with another little lick, just strumming on that C major 7, using our hammer-on with our first finger. Like that. So all that is just with your first finger off, you're strumming 4 and doing your hammer-on on beat 1. And then coming in on the end of 2. On the end of 2, you're going to still have your first finger down, and you're gonna leave it down to strum down on 3, but then lift it up for the end of 3, and on beat number 4, you're gonna do that hammer on again. So you're gonna have, and that ends the whole song. So that's every section of the song. If you need to rewind, I've got the chapters in the description down below. So you can just click and go to each section of that playthrough, and you can use the YouTube controls to slow it down, play along with it, whatever you need to do, try to make it easy for you. But that is every section of the song. So now let's go ahead and play along with the music. We're gonna play along with it, and see how it goes from there.
She grabs her magazines, she packs her things and she goes. She leaves the pictures hanging on the wall. She burns all her notes, but she knows she's been here too few years feel this old. He smokes his cigarette, he stays outside till it's gone. If anybody ever had a heart, well, it wouldn't be alone. Knows she's been here too few years to be gone. And we always say it would be good to go away someday, yeah, but if there's nothing there to make things change, if it's the same for you, I'll just hang. The trouble understand, yeah, she got reasons he don't. Funny how I couldn't see it all until she grabbed up her coat and she goes. She's been here too few years to take it all in stride. Yeah, well, still it's much too long to let her go. Let her go. We always say it would be good to go away someday, yeah, but if there's nothing there to make things change, if it's the same for you, I'll just hang. The same for you, I'll always hang. Well, I always say it'll be good to go away, but if things don't work out like we think, and there's nothing there to ease their sake, and if there's nothing there to make things change, if it's the same for you, I'll just hang.
All right, so that is how you play through all of Hang by Matchbox 20. I hope that was fun for you. I hope it was easy, and I hope that made things clear about the strumming and the chords and all the sections of the song and everything. If you have any questions, do leave me a comment down below in the comments, and I will get down there and help you out. But thanks a lot for watching today. Thanks for subscribing and liking the video and commenting and all that fun stuff. Now, if you enjoyed this, I have more good stuff for you. I have a gift for you at my website. If you go to simpleguitar.com/top10, there I have a guide called the top 10 things to learn on guitar first. And that includes 10 things I teach beginners all the time to get them sounding more musical a lot faster. So go to simpleguitar.com/top10, download that guide. It's my gift to you for learning how to play Hang today. And thanks again for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.